I'm here with Caroll, Spinney, and Dave LaMattina. Thank you for taking the time. What a great honor and pleasure to meet you, Caroll. Both of you, 45 years.
Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun.
It's an amazing story. This is what you've been wanting to do since you were a child, am I correct?
Yeah.
Puppeteering and such. What was, did you see a puppet show? Was there something
Yeah.
that really drew you to that?
Yeah, when I was about 5 years old, I saw my first puppet show, and it was Three Little Kittens. And I think it was done by college students, I'm not sure. But they were using little German Steiff puppets. This was about 1939. And I thought it was really, when they came out and bowed, we knew they were puppets. They didn't look like real kittens. But I was so impressed that they could tell a story with things on their hands. And a year later, I saw another puppet show with F. Lee Bailey, who was a little brat, who was my age. And my mother made puppets and things for that woman who had a very special, expensive daycare center. And so I decided I'd love to do a puppet show myself. And I got a hold of a 5-cent puppet a few years later when I was 8 years old. And I bought it for a nickel. I had a stuffed green flannel snake my mother had made. She was a very clever, creative person. And she, we had an old barn, and I had enough scrap wood to make benches, and I puppeted out of, old boxes and crates and cloth for curtains. And I put a sign up in the post office, puppet show, 2 cents, Spinney house. And 16 people came, and I can't imagine what the show was like. It must have been awful. But I made 32 cents. In 1942, that was good money.
that was a lot of candy and a little,
Yeah,
a little next.
9 cents to go to the movies then, and for a penny you can get 4 pieces of candy. Those days are gone forever.
Boy, everyone became your friend after
Yeah.
that, I'm sure.
So I saw a puppet show, a TV show when I saw a TV at the World's Fair in 1940, and I didn't understand then why the woman over there was on this little screen on a box about that big, but the picture was just 12 inches, I think, 10 inches. And but I thought that it looked like a perfect place to put puppets. So I said, when I grow up, I hope there's more TV than there is now, because there wasn't much. And so I decided when I grew up, I'd have a puppet show. And indeed, I managed to get involved with a good one.
And continue to this day.
Yeah, I still have the job.
Yeah, amazing. It's amazing. I don't think we can think of anyone else doing Big Bird or Oz.
Yeah, when I was 35, I got the job.
Amazing.
So it wasn't like I started when I was 21 or anything. And so my goal is to do at least 50 years, but I say at least because I'd like to go on from there if it's possible.
Yes.
So I'll see how well I can still walk and talk by then.
It's amazing. What a wonderful story. Dave, so tell me how you and Caroll got involved. What brought you to the story?
Yeah, I actually started my career thinking I wanted to go into family entertainment. And so when you're looking to do that, there's the first stop on that is Sesame Street. And so in 2005, had the opportunity to intern there. And I was telling a friend about the internship, and she said, "Oh, I'm related to Caroll Spinney." And I said, "Oh, I don't know who she is." And she said, "Oh, this Caroll is a man, and he's been Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch since 1969." And so I told my partners Chad and Clay about it, and we thought, man, we need to make a documentary about this guy. And I called some people at Sesame Street, and they were really supportive of the idea. And we met with Caroll, a couple of days later, and next thing we know, we're sitting in the room with Caroll and his lovely wife Deb, and Oscar the Grouch.
Ooh, you talking about me?
Oscar the Grouch.
Yeah.
What an honor to have you here.
Can it?
Oh, yes,
Sorry.
sir.
Oscar's, you said you're sorry. It was a slip of the tongue.
I got him on a good day, I guess, or a bad day. Did I get
Yeah,
you
well,
on a
I'm in
ba-
a great mood. The traffic was hideous. I never knew that L.A. had bad traffic. I would have lived here all my life.
It's wonderful for you who are such a little grouch. So let me ask you, what first made you grouchy?
Well, I think it was partly my father. It runs in the family. And I found that I like being miserable. That made me happy. But I, of course, don't like to be happy. So that makes me miserable. I like being miserable. Kind of makes me happy. And then Oscar, stop now. You'll never get to the end. He's right.
So we got to kind of just follow you with the trip, with the grouchiness?
Yeah, it's kind of a roller coaster.
You know, I do have to say, I'm glad you're here, that in the night in the museum, I thought Common Raw should have let you into the group. I thought it was...
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I was disappointed. So was my pal Darth.
He said you were just mildly grouchy. You must have had one of those mildly grouchy days.
He said, you're not really evil. You're just rather irritable. Well, I appreciate and I thought that was a good compliment. But I was disappointed that he wouldn't take me into his minions of evil. He didn't believe I was evil at all.
Yeah, he was mildly grouchy. I think he was afraid that you would have taken over.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. We'll buy that. Yeah. Right, Dave?
I like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
You know, Caroll, so tell me how you and Oscar first met.
Well, Jim, I decided I was doing puppets and stuff in TV. I got my first TV show in Las Vegas in 1955, and I paid $10 a week. I didn't know that Howard Hughes owned the TV station. It didn't reflect in a good salary or anything. And that only lasted 3 months because I was shipped off to Germany. And then so it was 5 years went by before I was able to get in TV again in Boston. And so I started being on the Bozo show. Was there for 10 years. And I did a lot of puppets and I even walkabout characters I played. And a boxing kangaroo and lots of things like that. So, but then I decided I'd want to do something more important. So I went to a puppet festival, but I built an elaborate theater, and I was an animator. I went to work for Disney, or went for a job at Disney. He walked into the room while I was getting the job. But about 10 minutes later, I walked out. I didn't accept the job. The pay was $56 a week for the first 2 years. I thought, somehow I could sell shoes, make it a little better than that. So I went back to Boston, and that's when I got into TV again. But after I was doing the Bozo show for some years, I thought it was kind of a waste of time. Even though it paid well, it was kind of not very valuable to the community. It was mostly to sell commercials, Mattel toys, etc. That's a fictional company. I just made that up. Anyway, I built this elaborate theater. I went to the National Puppet Festival that year. That year was in Salt Lake City, sponsored by the Guild of Puppeteers. And Jim Henson was in the audience. I gave a show, and everything went wrong with it. It was a disaster. And I was very depressed at the end of it because it didn't go too well. And I suddenly hear a voice behind me as I'm packing my stuff away. And it's Jim Henson. He said, I liked what you were trying to do. And he offered me the job for Sesame Street, which hadn't gone on the air yet. So I started with show number 1 with Oscar and Big Bird. Because I've always appreciated that he would give me 2 characters so different from each other. Yeah, I'm a lot nicer than Bird, right? No. And but I mean, it's been a wonderful experience. And I remember I started to realize early on that we were doing good things for kids and stuff. Because there were like as much as 12 million children a day, and we've been doing it for 45 years. Now we only get about 9 million a day. And but that means that like hundreds of millions of kids know what I've done, and it went a long way from that little puppet show where I made 32 cents.
You know, Dave, wanted to ask you, you know, the film, it's a beautiful, chronicles, so much of Sesame Street and, Caroll and so much that went on. What would you like the audience to walk away with? What's your, ultimate, goal?
Yeah, what?
An appreciation of Oscar. We, Chad and Clay and I had a chance to spend 3 or 4 years making this film with Caroll and his wife Deb. And what became extremely obvious to us early on was that, there are wonderfully talented puppeteers out there. Frank Oz could have been Big Bird, and he would have been an amazing character. Jim himself could have been Big Bird, and he would have been an amazing character. But Big Bird has lasted all these years because of Caroll's, the way Caroll does Big Bird. And what we wanted people to take away was an understanding of who Caroll is and how that has shaped this character that we all love. And you might be 40 and think, I'm cynical, I don't like Sesame Street, but I dare you to sit down and watch an episode from your childhood and not go back in time instantly and have those same emotions you had as a kid. And that's all because of Caroll, and we want people to appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Caroll, exactly right. I think no one cannot look at a big giant bird and not smile, especially when it's yellow and big. All these years, 45 years, and continuing with this one character, and everyone knows Big Bird. They're learning who you are. You two are synonymous. What would you like them to walk away with from the film, or from Big Bird, or from you? What?
Well, I personally thought the film was really well done. I'm not saying that just because Dave said it, but it really, truly, and I watch it with great emotion. Also, there's an ego involved. I don't have a lot of ego, so sitting in a theater with a 60-foot wide screen and seeing yourself up there on the screen. I've done movies, and don't forget I was in Night of the Museum too. Yeah, we've talked about that already. Oh, so anyway, I really think that the feeling that they ended up with as a child, I think, is restored by watching this film too, because it's really quite a nice experience to sit there and see things that are part of your childhood you might have forgotten, and I think that's well done. And they showed an awful lot of. I've been filming movies since I was 20 years old, 1954. So there's an awful lot of archives that they had accessible, plus a lot of television. Once we got a video camera, and the early ones, some of the film we had to carry around. The recording part of it was 35 pounds. That's what a cement block weighs. Now they're a little more convenient. But it gave it. They had an awful lot of. There's a lot of. If you like seeing old movies about people you might have heard of, they're kind of fun to watch. And
that's amazing. And just one last question, Dave. For you in their film, social media, we can just look for .com, Facebook, Twitter.
Absolutely. We the film's website is iambigbird.com.
I'm not intimidating.
It's always there. And then on Twitter, we are just iambigbird and those are your two hubs for everything about the film. And Caroll, we've got a ton more stuff. Like Caroll said, we have hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of material they
Some
filmed.
is boring. He didn't use any of the boring stuff.
That boring stuff we put on our website. No,
Okay.
and so all that stuff is up
That's good
there.
stuff on the website.
Yeah, it's good stuff to check out, and that's where we are.
Yeah.
And Oscar, how about you? What's your next starring role? Are you and Big
Well-
Bird going to do a duo or something?
Well, I'd like to do a film with Grace Kelly. She's passed. Oh no. Well, never mind. I'm going back to my trash can.
Well, Dave, thank you. Grout,
Never
Oscar
thank
the
you.
Grouch, hope you have a
Never
horrible
thank-
day.
Oh, all right. Okay. Hey, this guy's okay.
You got you.
Yes. Caroll, I know I can speak for all of us that grew up with you. Thank you so much. Big Bird has given us so much, and I know every time we see you and him, we smile. We thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you bet.
But I really am delighted I've had that chance. And I'm still doing the show.
Yes. And look forward for many more years. Gentlemen, thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Take care. Thanks. Bye, Oscar.
Yeah. Get out of here, you knucklehead.
You want a picture with Oscar, Gus?
Oh, you bet.